Some mention must be made also of the Junior Epworth League. Its intentions and functions are summarized in the Methodist Yearbook by William Harrison Dupuy. The Junior League strived to meet the needs of the youth from 10 years of age to 16, when they could then enter the Epworth League proper. Plans for the Junior League included a graded course of study covering the Bible and its life applications, church history, government, doctrines, and benevolences, with intention of developing a capable next generation of Epworth Leaguers and a church of more loyal and intelligent Methodists overall. When the Methodist Episcopal Churches North and South merged along with the Methodist Protestant Church in 1939, the instrument for the youth became known as the Methodist Youth Fellowship. The age limits were more tightly defined, between 12 and 24 years of age. The organization still moved in similar directions of the work as the Epworth League, only with clearer lines of definition. One imagines that to some members of the Epworth League, new lines of definition must have felt like lines of restriction. When the United Methodist Church formed in 1968, the age range was further narrowed to include high school and junior high students only, and the focus of their missions was also narrowed. It should be said that there was nothing to prevent other people that were now excluded from the sphere of the denomination's official youth group from engaging in the earlier works of the Epworth League. But that fueling, motivating sense of belonging to a society was lost. Furthermore, the sense of empowerment and confidence from the church and their leaders that had been implied in the freedom and sense of ownership by the youth in the days of the Epworth League was greatly diminished. Why the scope or range of opportunity and membership narrowed is unknown. One can only speculate as to what factors influenced the denomination's decisions regarding the Epworth League and its predecessors. Whether intentional or not, with each new merger, a body of Christians was being formed for whom the Epworth League occupied a less central place in the cultural memory of the denomination as a whole. Secondly, with regard to the narrowed age range, one can imagine, with the denomination growing, that the leaders may have been concerned to move the older members of the youth organizations out into the larger work of the denomination. Thirdly, a number of organizational changes likely drew the League away from its original vision and adaptable nature. The first of these would be the enfolding of the Epworth League into the benevolence budget of the Methodist Episcopal Church in 1920, and the later inclusion of the League under the Board of Education in 1924. As a result, the League found itself being more directly impacted by the larger denomination's financial affairs and organizational changes. Second was the inevitable departure of many of its early leaders. This left the League in a situation where it found itself increasingly under denominational control, and that being the control of men who may not have carried the same passion and vision of the League's earlier leaders. Speculations aside, it would be erroneous to say that the Epworth League no longer exists, since it has miraculously been greatly changed. It would also be inaccurate to paint too poor a picture of the Methodist youth or their fellowship since the Epworth League. But we may certainly say that the era of unprecedented spiritual growth, activity, and accomplishment by the youth in American Methodism that was marked by the name Epworth League has not since been duplicated. It is important that we not leave from this period in Methodist history with the assumption that the time of the Epworth League is a bygone era, a time of opportunity for which the window is past. To find a way to revive so much spiritual, missional, and evangelical momentum in our youth and in the Church's support of them is still a worthwhile pursuit, and the League has taught us that it is not a vain pursuit, for it has been realized before.
If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, calling every man. We're the generation we can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late.